Okay, this is actually, I'm going to try to do this off the cuff. I actually did this video in March, and unfortunately my screen recording was a little too flickery and it was making my eyes water, so I didn't want to punish you and load it up and have your eyes water. So I'm just gonna start where I started before. I just watched the video and try to recreate it. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help the general public find an attorney. I know it's really difficult. I get calls all the time. I even have been hung up on when I said, I have an appointment, can I call you back? And I was screamed at, oh, you attorneys are so busy, you don't help. Well, we do help. I do volunteer work locally here in Los Angeles, and when I do have time, I generally will take calls from potential clients who want a quick question answered, as long as I'm not really giving legal advice, maybe turning you on to where you can find help. So what you need to do when you're looking for a lawyer is you need to have patience. You really do. You need to have patience because, you know, a lot of us are in trouble, or we have a problem we want solved, or sometimes there is a win-win situation where maybe you're putting a deal together and it may still be an upbeat situation, but there's urgency. And so you want to find the right lawyer quickly, but quick isn't really always best. You need to realize that if you meet a lawyer and you don't click, now that's different than quick, a click with that lawyer, you're going to have to call someone else. And sometimes you may like the lawyer, but they don't handle your specialty or handle the area of law that you need. I cannot tell you how many times I have looked someone in the eye and said, look, I don't handle that area of law. And that person says, but I want you to represent me, you represent me, you represent me. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And that's a whole nother video. So let's just start easy. I'm going to show you how to find a lawyer, or let's start with you've been referred to a lawyer. And then I'm going to show you how you can research that lawyer and where you can find a lawyer specializing in what you need. There's several ways to do that. And then free and low cost help. All right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to, let's say you were referred to me. I'm going to use me because I don't want to offend anybody by searching their profile. The first thing you want to do is, and this goes for any state in the United States, go to the state bar of that state. So for us, it's going to be the State Bar of California. So let's say somebody referred you to an attorney. We're going to go to the State Bar. As you can see, I go there often. That's why it comes up in my search queue. So we're going to go to the State Bar of California. And let's just scroll down here. As you can see, you've got attorneys, attorney search, California Bar Exam, contact us members. You know, there's all kinds of things. Now, anybody can do this in any state, all right? If you're in Michigan, and that's what I wanted with this video, I wanted to try to help anybody. So let's say you're in Michigan. Michigan State Bar. There it is, State Bar of Michigan. So this is going to apply to any Connecticut State Bar. And there's the Connecticut Bar, well, that's the Bar Association. Latest bar results. Well, maybe they go by statewide bar association. Yeah, it's usually the state bar. But there you have it. So I want you, we're going to go back to California because I don't want to look at a state that I know nothing about. State Bar of California. So let's just start with the idea that someone has referred you to a lawyer. I don't care how much you trust that person who referred you, how much you like the lawyer. I want you to search for the lawyer. There's always going to be an attorney search queue for you to click in that person's name. And what you want to do is you want to check and you want to see if that attorney has had, well, number one, if they're practicing, sometimes they retire, or, you know, they haven't paid their dues and they're inactive, or if there's any actions against them, if somebody's filed a complaint or something against them. You want to know that. You want to know going in. You don't want to find out later that your attorney had an action against them and they have problems with other clients, and then you have a problem and you didn't do your due diligence. So let's just look me up. There I am. You can do this with any attorney. And usually, so right there, include similar sounding names. So we're going to do my last name. Let's go Nut like that. And then that way you can pull up all the different, we got 218 results for Nut. Wow. I didn't know that many people had that name. Okay, I'm not going to search for similar sounding on mine. And we still got 41 results. But there you go. Any attorney who is licensed with the State Bar of California or has been licensed with them will show up here. So we have 1 of 25. We're going to page 2. And look at that, I can't even find myself. That's pathetic. There I am, right there. Sandra Nutt, active, Van Nuys, and it tells your admission date over here, okay? So Sandra Maria, there I am, click, and there you have it. So what you're gonna look at is the current status. You wanna know that that attorney is active, and mind you, if you don't find them here, they're probably not a lawyer, okay? Something's wrong. And I mean, I have had people come, especially with the mortgage crisis, to my office and say, this person told me they were a lawyer, and they find out after the fact, after they've given them $7,500, that they weren't a lawyer. So right here, that little piece of information is critical. Current status active. Profile information, I am required to keep this up to date. That's my business address. There are your schools, and this is an extended profile. So this part over here, the bar didn't used to have your picture and your website. Now you have that. But here's the contact information, schools, and right down here, status history, present, active, admitted, actions affecting eligibility to practice, none, okay? So if you see a list down here of some kind of disciplinary related actions, you probably want to move on to another lawyer, but if you really like that lawyer, go ahead and read the disciplinary actions and see. Because I have seen lawyers with disciplinary actions where they made innocent mistakes with their trust accounting, or maybe it was a dispute with an overzealous client and both of them were maybe a little wrong or half right. And then you may still go with that attorney. But that's going to be your first step, all right? Get your referral. That's the easy part. So let's just, I really want to go to another bar, but I don't want to look up attorneys that might think I'm infringing, but let's just go to Michigan State Bar. Michigan State Bar. There you go, State Bar of Michigan member directory. So let's click here and say, I was referred to an attorney and I'm in Michigan and I want to find this person. So we're going to go member directory, and mind you, I'm doing this blind. I'm doing it off the cuff because I want to show you how easy it is for you to do this as well. So here you would just type in whatever information you know about that person and then search. All right, so that's step number 1. Let's move on to step number 2.